Chapter 1. Helvisti. Nora took in a deep breath as the ship sailed out of the harbor and tugged at her long fur overcoat that blocked the cold wind as she turned for one last look back at the city. She would miss Takroon and its cozy, bone-white wattle and daub buildings with their shaggy thatch roofs. She watched them fade away until all that could be seen was lush green hills dotted with flocks of sheep and smiling shepherds that waved at the ship as it sailed on by. Both sheep and shepherds seemed to be so happy. Those lovely green whirling hills seemed so quiet and peaceful. Day by day she watched the landscape change, from pleasant, lush green hills to dark, gloomy, and jagged granite. These mountains were not green at all. Any speck of color was the beginning of a pale blue glacier peeking over the jagged ridges. Nora grimaced. Even the pine trees near the shoreline seemed more black than green. The crew trimmed their sails as the ship slipped into the busy sea lane that led to their final destination. Her determined sky-blue eyes gazed up at the Helvisti lighthouse on the snow-capped mountain that overlooked the city and large port below. The city stood out like a gem wedged between two seams of granite stone. Nora suspected the brightly colored buildings of randomly assorted, vibrant purples, blues, and bright greens were to make up for the perpetually oppressive, gloomy gray clouds and harsh, jagged, snow-capped mountains that sheltered the city from the Baru waste beyond. Nora dipped her chilled nose beneath her red scarf. She was glad Vila had gotten it for her. She had initially refused it, but during their brief stop in Tel Kroon, he had bought it anyway, and halfway to Helvisti, he had regifted it to her, which she begrudgingly accepted. It wasn't purely out of pride. Naturally, while in her military uniform, she was expected to follow strict regulations. A bright red scarf, no matter if it was the finest, warmest, and softest Talcaroon wool in all of man, it did not match her green military dress uniform, and although she was breaking regulations, she was now too cold to care.